A few days ago, I spoke to a group of leaders from Detroit. They are worried about the racial tensions that continue in that city. We have a long history of discrimination and housing segregation, said one. African Americans get about 60% of the income that others get, said another, but only about 5% of the wealth. Why is this? It is because African Americans have been systematically kept away from the one thing that builds most Americans' wealth, and that is housing. But to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result is one definition of insanity, I said to them. We need a complete shift from the way we think, the way we learn, and the way we do things. We need a paradigm shift, I said to them. We are living in difficult times, I don't have to tell you. Things in our public consciousness. Charlottesville reminded us of how deep white supremacy is, and the utter devastation in the South with the hurricanes and the terrible situation that's continuing in Puerto Rico remind us of the terrible consequences of climate change denial. And then there is DACA and immigration and the cruelty of the ICE raids that are going on in the country. We can't address these challenges using the same old ways, strategies that got us there. And that is why OMNIA is shifting the paradigm on learning. For most of us, learning is top-down. There is one who knows everything and others who don't know anything, and the one who knows everything puts knowledge into the heads of don't know anything. That's how education tends to work. We are shifting that paradigm into a bottom-up method where some of the best learning comes from listening to and learning from the people in the margins. Now I want to tell you that margins is not a place of weakness or self-deprecation. In fact, some of the best ideas, most creative energy, the innovation, the controversy, the desire to change comes from the people in the margins. People in the privileged center do not want to change. They really love the status quo. So what does a paradigm shift in leadership look like? Here's an example. OMNIA is training Muslim and Christian leaders in the northeast of Nigeria these days, where Boko Haram is active. They continue to terrorize Muslims and Christians. In the past, Muslims and Christians had only one tool. It was called received theology. It came to them from people outside of Nigeria, and it brought with them attitudes of exclusivity and superiority. And so they can't talk to each other, they can't learn from each other, they can't work with each other because of this gulf that these kinds of theologies have created. We said to them, we need to shift the paradigm to a bottom-up, because the answers to the questions that Nigerians are looking for are in the soil of Nigeria. It must come from the bottom up. And so today, two young Muslim men who escaped from Boko Haram after our training now has started a barbershop. And these two Muslim young men have hired Christian young men to assist them. In another village, we have two young women, Christian women, who started a sewing shop, a tailoring shop, and they are hiring Muslim young women to help them to do their work. Just back in June, after one of our trainings, 347 pastors' wives made a commitment to go back to their communities and build relationships with the imams' wives. Because the question of peace is so critically important, it requires a paradigm shift for them. OMNIA doesn't come there and offer a top-down solution. It wants to seek the solution that comes from the bottom up. That's a paradigm shift. Now back home in the United States, I don't have to tell you, we could use a paradigm shift as well in leadership. That's why we are having OMNIA's Leadership Summit from October 25th to 27th at the 4th Presbyterian Church in Chicago. I want to invite you to come because I know that if you engage in that thinking, in that alternative way of doing things, you will make a significant difference in your own community, just like those leaders in Detroit are planning to do. October 25th to 27th in the Fourth Presbyterian Church in Chicago. For details, please go to omnialeadership.org. Come and bring others with you. It'll transform your life.